Welcome to Toffee TV. It is my three talking points from Liverpool 2, Everton 0 at Anfield today. Everton beaten in the Merseyside derby. They're in the bottom three, thanks to Burnley finding a little bit of form from nowhere. And it's all hands to the pump now. Everton are in huge trouble. The result at Anfield today wasn't unexpected. You know, obviously, Liverpool are a fantastic side. Everton are in awful form. It was always going to be a big ask to get anything, and it proved that way. First thing I'm going to speak about today is Anthony Gordon, who I give man of the match to, from an Everton perspective. I thought he was brilliant in terms of attack, and he had Trent Alexander-Arnold all over the place. He was a real threat to Liverpool all afternoon. But a couple of things. One, the falling over is just starting to grate on me a little bit. Not talking about the penalty, and I've seen some Liverpool fans saying it wasn't a penalty. You've got to accept at times that things are, because it's your team, you can't, try to pass everything off as, oh, it was never a pen, and it was a penalty. He was shoved in the back, it was a penalty. However, there was one in the first half where Trent Alexander-Arnold shoved him in the back, and that was a free kick, and the referee gave it against him. But there was 3 or 4 other occasions in the game where he went down. The one on Naby Keita wasn't a penalty. He threw himself over. The legs might have brushed. So what? Go past him and get a shot away. That was never a penalty, and he deserved his booking for me. It's nonsense. And he's a good player, Anthony Gordon. He is. He's got that bit about him. He can go by players, as he's proved. Alexander-Arnold's a brilliant player, and he left him. He had him all day. He had them worried. But going over so easily, it does become the boy who cries wolf. And to me, that's what happened in the second half. It was a shove in the back by Mathew. It was a penalty. You can't lean on people in the box and throw them down. It was a pen. Gordon didn't get it quite simply because he'd gone down 3 or 4 other occasions for no reason. Flopped over by the centenary stand early on in the game, and it was like there was nothing in it. A little nudge on you isn't a foul. And that's what I'm saying, the difference in the Trent Alexander-Arnold one in the first half and Matip's one, 2 arms in his back gone, fouls. The other stuff he was throwing himself on the floor for doesn't need to do, and it's going to detract away from everything he does good. So I just want him to cut that out. We don't need that. Good players don't do it. Salah used to do it all the time, breathed on, and his arms are back and he's falling over. It takes away from good players when they do that. Neymar's another one. Wonderful footballer, pathetic, throwing himself about. Richarlison, annoying at times as well. So Anthony, just bin that off. Second thing I want to talk about just very briefly was the referee, who was pathetic. Stuart Atwell, what an awful official. Absolutely abysmal. Had no control over a game that there was not really anything in. And in fact, he caused issues like at the end of the first half. Like I've just been talking about Gordon, the shove in his back by Trent Alexander-Arnold, it was a foul. Everyone could see Alexander-Arnold's face. You could see when he turned round. It was a foul. He knew it. And then the penalty. To get them things wrong is pathetic for me. But he made other stuff look more difficult than what it was. I just think he's a dreadful ref. He shouldn't be anywhere near a game of this magnitude, ever. One team going for the title, the other team trying to stay up, and you're giving it to Stuart Atwell. Oh, absolutely pathetic all day long. He was terrible referee. Shouldn't be anywhere near football. And thirdly, I want to just talk about, obviously, we're in the bottom 3. Our situation is perilous, to say the least. 6 games to go. Burnley, have somehow got some form from somewhere for an awful football side that they've been for. And Everton have been awful, don't get me wrong, so why we're down there, but they are genuinely terrible, Burnley. For them to start getting wins because teams have turned up not asked. I hope that Everton can take advantage of that kind of games against Crystal Palace and Brentford and Leicester when they come with their, when we play them again with their flip-flops on like Southampton and Wolves have done for Burnley. We have to be able to take advantage of that. We didn't the other night. Leicester should have been put to bed the other night. We've missed good chances in the game. We've missed good chances today. Or certainly presentable chances. Certainly the Anthony Gordon one was a presentable chance. He's got to hit the target. Richarlison missed some sitters the other night against Leicester. In these last 6 games, you've got to take them. We got Chelsea at home next Sunday. depends what Chelsea turn up. You know, they're still giving away opportunities in every game, and you've got to take the chances. And if Everton, with the crowd at Goodison, get the opportunity next week, they've got to take it. That's how they're going to win points. You know, what I will say is that since the Crystal Palace game, even though results haven't quite shown it, there's been, certainly the 3 away games, there's been a structure there. I think the players have stuck to the task in the games. They haven't had the rewards, and I'm not saying, you know, today they deserved anything. They could have got something, you know. They get awarded that penalty and score it. Who knows? Or Anthony Gordon pops that one in the corner. Who knows? But you're up, you know. I'm not talking about today against the top side. But what we have to do in the final 6 games is take the opportunities that come along. If they stay together, work like they did today, follow a game plan, and take their opportunities, then they may well stay up. You know, Burnley, we got the game in hand on Burnley. It's a difficult, you know, it's going to be difficult. They're in a good run of form now. We've got to try and, you know, just put points on the board. They go to Watford next Saturday. So we're going to, you know, we'll all be praying for a Watford win. And then we've got Chelsea. But we just got to stick together. It's not over yet. It's looking very, like I said, perilous at the start. Everton can still get out of it. There's a lot of points still to play for. But it is getting more difficult week by week. But what else can we do? What else can we do other than stick together and hope that this team can win 3 games that would give them 38 points, which I think will probably keep them up. But it's difficult. It's difficult, isn't it? And on days like today when... I don't really use today as a barometer because Liverpool are so far ahead of us as a team. You can't look at that and try to compare it. But what I've done is looked at the way they stuck to the task, they stuck in it, they made it difficult for Liverpool. Liverpool can blow you away at any moment. And Everton made it difficult for them, and they huffed and puffed a lot today. But they got the job done, which is what top sides do. But, you know, going into it, I was fearing a massacre, I'll be honest. And obviously losing Ben Godfrey in the warm-up and everything else, you do start going, here we go. 2-0, move on. Game's done, move on. See how many points we can get in these final half a dozen games. It's going to be hard. Who knows what'll happen, but we've got to stick together. There you go. They're my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. And if you're a Liverpool fan watching it, don't, you know, think about the penalty thing. Look at the push in the back. Not saying Everton deserve to win, because that isn't what we're saying, but you got to look at the whole thing sometimes and just go, yeah, it could have been given. It wasn't, so it's irrelevant, but it could have been. There you go. Have a good weekend, the rest of it anyway. See you later.